Welcome back. Another episode of Thrones Be the Game. We are back. This is the final episode, but not our final episode. We'll be back to cover up what's behind the scenes.
Yeah, the bonus episodes.
The bonus episodes.
The
bonus episodes. And we'll have our man Tyler finally back, hopefully next week. We had some rainstorms, tornadoes, things like that. Yeah, the remix. All right, let's get into it. Raven, what was your thoughts on the episode?
You know, I initially watched it at like 10:30 at night, coming back from a trip, and I don't know if I was tired or what, but I was screaming at my TV like, what the fuck? And then I rewatched it, and I'm satisfied with the ending. Mm-hmm. I'm satisfied.
Scott?
So I'm the exact opposite. When I first watched it, I was satisfied. I was content, but I lowered the bar for what my expectations were. But I've actually watched it 4 times now, and on my 4th watch, I realized that it wasn't that it was bad. It was that because it was beautiful. They closed off a lot of the main stories. I think my complaint was, and I've said this several times, is that it got Hollywood. A lot of us were looking for the closure to the minutia. And they closed the broad stories. They looked at the characters' story arcs, and they brought them to a close and an acceptable ending. But I think that it was the minutia that we found interesting in a fantasy story that they didn't bring close and answers to. That was what irritated me the most. Brand is king, yeah, whatever. Arya moves off to west of Westeros, that's fine. Jon doesn't die, okay. But I think that had these last 2 seasons been 10 episodes and we got to the same conclusion, I wouldn't have felt as rushed or pressed to get there, and so I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, I think I do agree with that. I would have been okay with. I'm okay with the outcome, but I agree with Scott in that it would have been more satisfying if we had developed it a little bit more in 10 full episodes.
Yeah, 10 episodes would have been it. I didn't like it at first when I first saw it. But then I rewatched it and I was like, it ain't that bad. It closed up all the storylines like it's supposed to. Yeah. But then, like you said, didn't give them a new shit. That's when they did none of the prophecies, things like that came into fruition. And if they had more time, they could have probably laid them out a little bit longer that you could see like, oh, this is why this prophecy is like that. And that's why this happened like this.
And I was gonna say at least I guess the great 2 parallels where we had this really slow build up between Brienne, Tormund, and Jaime as a love story,
like the little crisscross triangle.
Exactly,
triangle love.
Yeah, that love triangle is a really slow build up, but by the end of it, from the time that Jon meets Dany in season 7 to the end of the show, 11 episodes or 12 episodes later, we're supposed to believe that they have this love for each other that no one can live without, this, that, and the other. When they slowly built up Brienne, Tormund, and Jaime, a slow build up for Arya and Gendry. And so even
Ygritte and Jon, they built that up over that season.
Exactly, and so we've just seen characters we care about more interact with each other more and have a real relationship and have that build up that was a little bit more effective. The Johnson family's in the house, and then to have it seem so rushed in the last 2 seasons when this was supposed to be the most important of the love stories, it just seemed
kind of
less impactful. Yeah, hollow. Yeah.
But is it hollow, or is it just that you're unsatisfied with that it didn't end happily?
No, I was cool with him killing her though. Mm-hmm. But just like I would have liked the heel turn to have been a little bit more, instead of like one day even though looking back you could see that the heel turn was going to happen, but it'd have been cooler if like they showed her running King's Landing for a while and kind of wilding with her decisions. And then Tyrion sitting in jail and Jon going to see him maybe 2 episodes later and being like, hey man, you got to do what you got to do, instead of like, you got to do what you got to do and it's 10 minutes later.
Right.
Yeah, I guess practically what did that look like? Because who did she have to rule over other than her army? And her mission at that point was, we need to liberate the rest of the world. So it would not have been consistent with her story arc for her to stay in King's Landing and rule. Like, what is she ruling at that point?
I think they could have drawn that out though. That idea of her doing that, like she could have sat there and like, okay, we rebuilt, and then say like, so I don't like that the fact we just sitting there doing bureaucratic shit. I'm supposed to be out here ruling the world.
Well, I mean, I think that's what her plan was.
So look at this. if we go back to season 6, we see her in Marine, I believe, and she locked all her dragons up because they killed one child. One child was murdered by her dragon, and she felt so bad about it.
And the two that one didn't even do it got
locked up.
Yeah.
So to go from that to and then so to not have any interaction with any non-combatants until the next time she sees non-combatants, then now she's just burning the city down because the show writers tell us because she had found out what all was taken from her, this, that, and the other. Yeah, they built up that story arc in the character, but what they showed us from that character was empathy. So to go from that empathy to killing Lannisters, so she even the Tarleys. When she killed the Tarleys, it's like, well, they were still enemy combatants who weren't going to pledge their loyalty to her. She gave them the opportunity to change. She burned them not because you fought against me. She burned them because you fought against me, and now you're telling me that you won't give me your loyalty. So she gave them the option. So that wasn't the same thing as going to King's Landing and after people had surrendered, had taken over Cersei's rule after seeing her dominance and had surrendered, to burning those innocents. And that's the thing. That was the thing. It wasn't that narratively it didn't work. It was that visually it was not the person we saw most recently. She didn't burn Northerners when she was trying to fight against the army of the dead. You know, she was careful not to run into Jon or save Jon when they were both flying dragons. I mean, so she's shown a level of empathy even in this season that made episode 5 completely out of character. Not because it wasn't who she told us she was, it's because that's not who they showed us she was up until that point.
Yeah, I still kind of disagree. Just because, I mean, I think from the moment in the end of episode 2, when she found out Jon's true identity, I think they started planting that seed, or, I mean, making that seed grow. Because I think throughout the series, we have seen her have to be backed off a ledge multiple times. And I think with Tyrion's counsel, she has wondered, well, what is the benefit of me showing this empathy with her locking up her dragons? How did that help her? And I think that once she gets to the point where she's in King's Landing and she feels like she does not have loyalty or love from anybody, what the hell is the point at this, this point in the
that's fair.
The game?
I mean, that's fair. But then why not express that anger on the person who it should be directed to, and Jon? Like, once again, this is my problem with the pacing of the love story. Because I could have completely understood her killing Jon, or at least attempted to kill Jon. I don't understand her being so in love with Jon that she's going to murder innocent people because Jon is this person that's on a do not kill list. That's my problem with the love story.
Yeah,
they didn't really sell me on it. It's like, I mean, okay, you banged her a couple times and I went to go see, and then they introduced so many thread lines that we thought were going to be important that wound up not being important. Why spend all the time talking about the dragons weren't eating when it didn't really have any effect on what happened later? Why spend any time? Like, Jon's lineage, all Jon telling his lineage to Dany did was, by most people's accords, made her go crazy, which ended up with Bran being on the Iron Throne. It seems self-serving from Bran now.
Right. And
We'll
talk about that in a minute, how Bran played this all out.
Yeah, because I mean, we can talk about it later, but I was about to say that's precisely the point. But we can get there later.
They finna go down there and fuck this all up. I'm finna roll in on the back end and be the man. I ain't got no penis. It don't work. I might as well be able to.
He has a penis. Who said it didn't work? That's what
his sister did. Hate.
I know she did, but I'm saying, like, who told her?
How would she know?
Right.
I mean, I guess I
didn't know that
from the waist down.
I was trying to remember, like, if that had been established at any point.
His body still produces sperm.
Right.
No. I think they established
that goes to the
that.
prostate,
No, I think
maybe.
they established that when he got paralyzed, that he wouldn't be able to sire any heirs. In season 1 or 2, and they made like a big deal
saying,
that he can't sire.
Biologically, they could stimulate the prostate and
in
generate.
the medieval times.
Right.
Medieval times, you think they can do that?
I mean, there's gay people in the evil times. I mean, somebody knows the prostate works, right? You know what I'm saying?
Man, Bran up in there eating so much coochie, man. He's just like, yo, just put it in my face. Because he still probably gets the urge. I mean, maybe he don't.
He doesn't seem like, he
but that's
doesn't
what makes
have
him
the
a good
urge to do
king, though, which
anything.
I'll talk about later. How he's the perfect king.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the episode. We got some random questions from Scott that he put down, but let's talk about the episode a little bit itself. We have Dany showing up with the with a whole bunch more Dothraki and a whole bunch of more.
Well, back up before that with Tyrion walking through the ruins. That's really where we start.
And snow, and it looks like snow.
Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy that she burned up so much that it looks like winter came.
Snowing. Yeah,
it looks like winter came. Yeah, literally King's Landing.
And isn't that how they described too when the Mad King turned everything to ash that people thought it was snowing?
Yeah, that's just too much. Like the problem is that she didn't destroy enough of the city to do that. Like that was like a volcano erupted amount of ash. Like it covered Drogon. Remember, like so think about this
because he got up under it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Drogon spilled so much fire that after he landed, the ash still settled down on him, and we thought it was just a mound or something. Yeah. And he had to shake it off him. Like that's an unfathomable amount of fire and ash because it's still stone. Like stone doesn't burn like that.
I don't know. I mean, you think about when the World Trade Center fell and like how much ash just like the falling of that building created. Buildings. Yeah, and that's just two buildings.
205 story buildings.
Yeah, but then you think about an entire
the biggest town in
Westeros. Yeah,
right. But there was no building other than the Red Keep taller than 3 stories.
But I mean, let's.
And it was made of stone, not wood.
The Red Keep could have been the size of the World Trade Center type thing.
Could not have been.
No, I'm just saying in that construction. You got to think they had a whole bunch of houses all around there.
And all that marble, I can totally see it creating.
Marble doesn't burn like that. It's stone.
Whatever. For the visually, it was beautiful. Yeah. I'll just say that.
Yeah, man. And then with Tyrion walking through, he's like, man, this is fucked up.
Yeah. So what do you think about when he was digging through the rubble to find Jaime and Cersei?
I mean, he it was a thing of, I think because he always wanted their acceptance. He lived his whole life trying to get Tywin's acceptance. That when he was handed the king, he thought like, yo, I have this going on, and Tywin shows back up with the Tyrells at the Blackwater thing, and he saved Blackwater, and he was like, yo, Pops is gonna be loving this. I saved Blackwater and did all this. For everybody to be like, nah, you good though. You finna put you down to what the Master of Coin in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we gonna take your hand to King though. Bump that. Tywin like, I'm back. This is a spot I was supposed to have anyway though. You just really holding this for a minute.
Keeping my seat warm.
Right. And Tywin didn't want to be like, yo, you did a good job at Blackwater. He's like, oh, I had to save your ass. Even though he fucking blew up all the ships in Blackwater to make sure that nothing came in there.
I mean, Tywin doesn't get Father's Day gifts, right? I mean, he clearly not.
But that's the thing, though. But Jaime and Cersei loved him, though.
Yeah.
But did they? I'm saying,
yeah, man.
Cersei complained
they loved Tywin, man.
Well, they did love him, but I'm saying that Cersei complained in the earlier seasons, maybe it was season 4 or 5. She complained saying that maybe if you show me more attention, then instead of your sons. And he goes, I didn't ignore you because you're a woman. I ignored you because you're not as smart as you think you are. Mm-hmm. And so they were all trying to get his approval. But I'm saying that how much sincere love there was to him, I don't know. Because, I mean, earlier this season, Tyrion makes a joke to Jaime going, I wish our father was here. And he looks at him crazy and he goes, to see his 2 sons dying to save Winterfell. And, like, Jaime doesn't say, that's fucked up. You killed Dad. He moves on like, yeah, that would be funny. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think there's that approval that they all wanted, but it not necessarily was love. I could be full of shit.
You think it's or is it a thing like, yo, he treated everybody so shitty that we all trying to get his love?
Exactly.
Like, or it's like we all just trying to do anything for him to love us.
Yeah, like I think my impression of Tywin was he wanted the Lannister family to get someplace. And he reluctantly... I think he wanted Jaime. Jaime was his guy. No, I did. But I think he reluctantly accepted that in order to get the place he wanted to go to, these are the 3 fuckers that he had to deal with. And I think he just accepted that was his lot in life. It's like, these are the 3. This is what I'm working with. It is what it is.
My son's fucked up because he knew his son was fucking his twin sister. And he's like, he already has his, I guess, Achilles heel by Cersei. Cersei ain't as smart as she think he is. And Tyrion is smart and shit.
But he didn't like him as an imp. Yeah. If Tyrion had been regular size, Tyrion would have been his favorite.
Yeah. Because the Mad King made Jaime the head of the King's Guard, for he could not have any heirs.
Exactly.
Do you think so, even if he'd still killed his mother in childbirth?
If he'd been regular size, I think so.
He probably didn't like her for really.
He seemed to really love his wife, and that seemed to have been part of his gripe
the
with
impetus of him
Tyrion.
just being a
Right,
Right.
but he also came up as an imp. So now we're talking about books now, not what's interesting in the show. There's a suggestion that the Mad King was actually the father of him.
Tyrion. Yeah,
exactly. So now
he did it as a spite thing.
exactly. So now his wife
girl.
dies. It happens. This commonly happens in Targaryen births, not necessarily Lannister births. Tyrion is an imp. So now he has a lot more discord.
And it's darker. He's got darker blonde hair.
Exactly.
They got more closer to platinum.
Exactly.
Blonde hair naturally, and he's got more like reddish blonde hair.
Right. So I mean, had he been I want to say regular size, but he had not been an imp, and maybe she not have died, or whatever. But had not been that scandal about possibly being a Targaryen bastard. And I feel like he would have loved Tyrion because Tyrion had the more scholastic aptitude for the things that Tywin did.
Yeah, because Jaime didn't. Jaime was a dope warrior, but he ain't gonna be able to make no moves. And Cersei, like you said, ain't as smart as she thinks she is.
Right.
She been a great queen or a great subject, or maybe on the council as something, but not running.
Exactly.
So we get Dany coming in with like a 50 million cats all of a sudden, even though they said they had 100,000, like you said you said 2 weeks ago they had 100,000 there. I guess it makes sense that they still had enough to be able to take over King's Landing.
Yeah.
In general, but they sitting there, the FOI sitting there like, yo, we strong up in here though. Then the Dothraki like, let's go rape. Well, we gonna go rape them some more. Like it felt like they were like, yo, where are we raiding at next?
They were just excited for what was next.
You
know,
saw
Dany.
when Dany was alive?
Yeah, when Dany was
she came out there
to do her speech.
Yeah, I mean, because she was like, we're not done yet. The war is not over.
Like,
we get
to go rape more women?
Yeah. Yeah, she was like, there's so much of the world to liberate, and her definition of liberation is
that shit was like a Nazi, like those ancient Nazi fucking, that was like a Nazi speech that Hitler gave.
The only thing that had been kind of dope on like a bigger scale is if Bravos end up like giving cats other people, like maybe John or somebody else money to stop that because they heard that she was going to just be riding out on all these different places.
Yeah.
And Bravos already lost the Golden Company. They can't go pay somebody that fast to come through, and they decimated the Golden Company.
And they got suck that loss up because that's the Lannisters.
Yeah, that's no. This technically on King's Landing still.
No, it's not. That was the Lannister rule. Cersei paid back the debt to the crown for the Baratheons.
Right.
The new loan was based on
loan on the Lannister name.
Right, on the Lannister name.
Oh, I thought that was on King's Landing name.
No, that's on the new loan. Was on Lannisters. Lannister always pays his debts.
Right. No,
so
I know
Cersei,
that,
so Cersei's gone. Like they got charged into the game.
Oh, can they come to Tyrion and collect?
I mean, maybe, but I'm saying, why would he? I mean, Lannisters don't have no money. He's the last Lannister, right?
Yeah.
The tallest Lannister too.
Yeah, the tallest Lannister too.
Where were the Northmen at this point?
They left, and then Sansa was on some gangster like, well, y'all did all right doing that. Y'all need to fall back. I'm coming through though, and we gonna sit here and do our thing. And she had them boys sitting there waiting after the when they did the council.
Yeah, them foreign boys didn't want the fruit of Islam.
No, they didn't.
They who
said that though? Somebody said that though.
Like Sansa said it. Well, Sansa said it. Sansa was like, you'll notice there are thousands of Northmen.
Somebody else said like, you don't want nothing with them though. With Tyrion, like,
I thought he did say that like the Northmen were.
No, y'all don't want. No, y'all don't want.
Yeah, you don't want that smoke.
Yeah, no. I think it was Tyrion. Like, no, that's not the way.
They was out there surgically murdering motherfuckers. They was surgically
and in line, like linked up.
Right.
So they got a wall on you coming at you. They ain't like no just wilding out. We already saw what happened to y'all at the Battle of the Bastards.
Right.
Like
with that. Nah, player, you ain't want that. Nah. I mean, that's a nice bluff and all, but you ain't really want that smoke. For real, I was more surprised that Jon was still alive because my assumption was that by the time they got to Tyrion's trial, a couple weeks had passed. Like Grey Worm didn't strike me the kind of cat that was going to wait to blade. Like, he could have just bladed Jon immediately.
I think it was the bureaucracy of it. Of like kind of holding. Are you saying he just came up and bladed him?
I'm saying this. If Jon killed Dany and Drogon was gone, Grey Worm was in a perfect position. He could have just bladed Jon right then and been like, yo, and got rid of the body. Yo, he killed Dany, Drogon ate him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but Grey Worm's not dishonest. That would be very inconsistent with his character, and at that point his loyalty is to Dany, and he knows that she still loves him.
Well, okay, I killed him for regicide, executed my queen.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything not on Dany's orders.
No, I get that, but that's what I'm saying though. I'm saying that to wait several weeks. So I'm saying when we see John
months.
after
It was months. They said.
Oh,
He said weeks. I thought he said weeks.
But even in weeks
Yeah.
or months, I'm saying that from the moment that John kills Danny and Danny is taken away from Drogon, there is a blood spot. The queen of the Seven Kingdoms is no longer there. He's missing the sword, and all the people that walk in that room are unsullied.
But I think
I'm saying that shit could have been handled real quick.
I understand, but the Unsullied aren't like unfathomable. Like, I mean, he knows at that point that Sansa has a whole lot of support from other people. I mean, really, at that point, the only other kingdom that Danny had the support of were the Iron Islands.
This is true.
Like everybody else that came.
Right, but here's the point. But here's my point, though.
Dorne is weak.
He wound up leaving, but he wound up leaving anyway. He blazed John. It takes him several weeks to get here. The Unsullieds could be at North.
You said we could have killed them.
Exactly, we could kill them and roll out.
I think at that point he
that was
probably
his plan anyway. The thing is that Grey Worm's plan when Missandei was alive was, after she gets the Iron Throne, she won't need me no more. We can move to North. He could be like, oh, she's dead. I blade Jon Snow. I've avenged my queen. I can move to North. It could all be whatever.
But then to even counteract that, though, I think her speech changed that perspective for him.
Right, but it was moot when she died.
I think he felt in his mind their liberties is unsullied now.
Right, yeah.
So they have to be bureaucratic about it. They're going to be moving around doing
exactly, because I don't think that loop was closed for him yet. You know, I think that there still was the unanswered question of who's going to rule and are we going to serve the new ruler.
And I think he still was like, you know what, as unsullied, we got to figure out what we going to do.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna
like, do we still have a dog in this fight?
I like the fruit of Islam didn't bow to nobody else.
Look, they didn't. Them cats didn't know, man.
Ultimately,
it was like, no, we got two prisoners. They had Tyrion. Right. Tyrion was still under, even though she was dead. Right. Tyrion was still in jail.
Mm-hmm. And I do think I understand his anger with Jon. I didn't think his anger with Tyrion was the same. It's like because his betrayal was basically, I let my brother go, so he wouldn't die.
Yeah.
Like he didn't put.
Yeah, he let him come out there.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, he didn't put Danny in a position to not win the crown. He just put him in a position not to kill my brother. And also, your brother's incestuous. It's like, I mean, it's a different thing. It's like that's.
Yeah, he is better like, swordsman as he used to be.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, come on. Like I felt like she overreacted with Tyrion. Like, he wasn't trying to undermine. He was still trying to get her the Iron Throne. He was just trying to save some people's lives that he had a very vested interest in. I think, and he said so. She goes, "You let your brother go free." He goes, "Yeah, I let my brother go free. You burned a city."
Yeah. I wonder if she would have had the same reaction of taking him prisoner right then and there if he hadn't taken off his pen and thrown it.
He did that after she said that, though.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, before she said that, like, before he did that, I mean, even though she said, that's treason, there are other times that she's accused him of not being loyal to her, and she didn't, take him prisoner, but he just embarrassed her in front of everybody.
That was plot armor, though.
Yeah, no, I know.
In this instance, they were like, and they even said it. D&D, they said, now she believes she's doing the right thing, and I think that was the purpose of Tyrion's speech to Jon was, we cheered her in Marine when she did this. When she killed people in Slaver's Bay, we cheered her. We cheered her when he gave another example of who she killed. I'm getting the names of it. But the point is that, she believes that she truly is bringing peace and righteousness to the world. Mm-hmm. Who wouldn't you kill if you truly believe that?
Yeah.
And then Jon goes back and talks to her, and she goes, "Oh, I know exactly what's right and wrong, and the people who disagree, they don't get to decide."
Yeah.
I think that's when Jon was like,
Isn't that how religion works?
Mm-hmm.
But that's
mostly, generally.
Yeah. She's a religious figure, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's a zealot.
So we get to Jon killing. Well, no, Jon visiting Tyrion.
Yeah.
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 Tyrion was like, "Yo, you got to do something, man."
Mm-hmm.
He spit game. He was ear hustling.
Yeah, he really was.
He was like, "Man, me being here don't mean nothing."
I just was kind of surprised that Jon was still on the fence at that point and was ready to be like, "Well, I'm sorry you about to die, but I'm still supporting my queen." Because it didn't seem like that's where he was going.
Because it felt like the North wasn't even there, though. Like,
you know why?
Right.
They didn't sell the love story properly. Yeah. They rushed the love story. From a viewer's perspective, we didn't see the conflict. It's like, I mean, she wilded the fuck out, son. Mm-hmm.
But I liked the part of the conversation about duty and love, because at that point I don't know if it's love for Jon, it's duty for him. Like he's like, I have committed to serving her as my queen. You know, this is my duty, and that to me is the basis for John's struggle in that moment, not like his love for her. Although I think he does have love for her.
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay.
I think that he was committed to his duty, and it was his love for his sisters that changed his mind.
Oh no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about love for Danny. Like that's
think he
specifically
technically
what I
loved
was
anybody,
talking about.
period.
Yeah. I thought he goes, I'm sticking to my duty to Danny. Until Tyrion goes, well, what about your sister? Why did Sansa tell me? And then his love, his love for his sisters made him change
they
his
have
mind.
that whole.
I think had Tyrion not said, what about your sisters? Tyrion would have died.
Right, I agree with that, but that whole duty and love conversation came before Tyrion said, "What about your sisters?" I think that was his way of hooking him back in.
I remember he had a conversation with Arya before.
Yeah.
He had the conversation with Arya before. Because what does Arya say to him? Like, is she the one that said something about what Sansa's not going to bend the knee?
Mm-hmm.
Right, but that was the point though. So Jon's statement was, "Love is the death of duty." Mm-hmm. Which means that, and then Tyrion responds that duty is sometimes the death of love. Mm-hmm. And so that I think that's what changed his mind as far as when he brought in sisters on it, because he would have done his duty to Dany, who he pledged his crown. I mean, hell, as he's murdering her, he goes, "You're my queen. You'll always be my queen," because he still believed in his duty to her.
Yeah, no.
But he thought that his love of his sisters and not having them having to deal with the Unsullied, the Dothraki, and the dragon. He was like, I can't. Because
I think we're saying the same thing. I think Jon initially was like, I'm going to stick by my duty. And then when Tyrion brought up his sisters, then he was like, okay, no, love overrides that.
Now, I have a question for you, D. Mm-hmm. Would you hit one more time? Knowing you was going to stab her?
If it was your aunt?
No.
But you already smashed though.
But I'm good though now. I'm already repulsed.
He hasn't smashed since he found
right,
out
exactly.
she was
That's
his
what I'm
aunt.
saying. He hasn't smashed since then. I wouldn't have hit, man. No. But the thing is though, at the same time, Dany looked at him as useless because he wouldn't hit.
Yeah.
Like we ain't messing around then, and you a threat to the throne. He was gonna be next soon too.
He was gonna have to tag that again.
He was gonna have to. Probably within that day. Like I'm gonna need to celebrate tonight. You need to be in my chambers by the sundown. Because they don't have no clock. Sundown. You need to be in my chambers. And bring them little shingly drawers you got on.
Oh, Lord.
The furs.
I was going to say, I don't think they're furs.
I know you like to wear a little fox fur over your shoulders.
And then when the fur fell first, how come Jon didn't have his fur game up this?
No, he did when he went back to...
he did.
When he went back to
he had one, but I'm saying the whole season snowed. It snowed the whole season.
No, that was ash, remember? Yeah. Like, once they go south, it's not cold like that anymore.
No, it's not cold. He can't wear that.
He'll be hot.
No.
With that IKEA fur on.
And y'all notice, if you remember from the books, he's wearing Ned's same piece that he had on the Tower of Joy, if you notice.
Oh, really?
That's the same armor he had on the Tower of Joy during that with the thing with Dany. So that's the whole thing, like, he's sitting there with that honor on him at all times.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this in a previous
but
season.
That armor is literally sitting on his body that your dad used at the Tower of Joy, where he made the decision to put honor over truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before in another season, but those furs are made out of IKEA rugs. I just think that's so spectacular.
Is that true in general?
Yeah.
Damn, I need to get me some of them. Let me step up in the club.
Take it to my tailor, get my shit right.
Yeah, I was like, get me step up in the club with that. I need the Jon Snow.
No, if you can stunt for a day or two for an IKEA rug
with the Jon Snow, and you got the Jon Snow.
I mean, y'all got your Halloween costume.
Hell yeah,
the Jon Snow. And I got my hair growing out. Shit, I might come out as Jon Snow and y'all a little perm or something.
That's Teddy. Shout out Teddy Simpson.
That's his natural hair though. That ain't no perm, baby.
I know.
They ain't no ultra perm.
Just for me.
Yeah. Man,
so then I've been bald for 10 years. But
you've been bald for 10. Damn.
Yeah, man, my hair game was whack.
Damn, 10 years. That means you don't even remember what your hair looked like when you had hair.
Oh yeah.
I got pictures of me with dreadlocks.
Sorry,
you had dreads?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh wow! I mean, we promised our listeners that this was going to be a live video.
Well, no, we'll have to try to do. I'm gonna try to put a video for next week. Though.
So sorry you can't see us.
Danny.
Raven got rollers in her head, so y'all lucky.
Raven got rollers in her head.
I do not have no rollers in my head.
So with Danny having her have a revision of her dream.
Yeah. Yeah, the House of the Undying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And going and touching the throne, and Jon interrupts it.
Well, it changed, right? So it changed because she didn't touch the
She
throne.
touched the throne.
She touched it physically.
No,
she didn't sit
but
on
not
it.
in the vision. But not in the vision.
Yeah, but she never got to sit on it.
Yes. What was the vision? Was
So the vision was she walked up to the throne and then she turned away before she touched it.
Yeah.
In the real life, she actually touched the throne and then turned away when Jon walked in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But didn't she have like a vision seeing like Viserys and Rhaegal?
No, like she had a vision of Drogon burning up shit.
Okay.
Yeah. It said her vision was. This was in season 2. The second season finale at the House of the Undying. She saw the Red Keep was destroyed and snow falling on the Iron Throne. And in the vision, she never touched the throne and instead turned toward a symbol of death.
Man, I mean, so Jon comes in, and he's trying to make her just say something to make him not kill her.
Right. And she didn't pick on that shit at all.
Tell me something. Like, oh no, she says, oh, I know what truth and justice the American way is. Like, she basically was like,
Right.
I'm the one that knows what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, word, you do.
Yeah.
Right.
You know about what's good and right.
Yeah, children are burning. Cersei tried to use it as a weakness, right? But it was still kids, though.
Right. I think he wanted to...
Here's the thing. I'm going to be very clear on something. I don't know if I said this or not. I didn't care about anybody in King's Landing dying. Like, I didn't care about that at all. At all. Like, it didn't move the register on me in one way. I know it's supposed to be an impactful thing and everyone's supposed to care, but I didn't. I was like,
after
fuck
they
them
blew
people.
up the scepter, after they blew up the chapel and the
After
scepter.
Masandi died, I was like, fuck everybody in King's Landing. No, why can't I didn't know him?
Yeah.
And I think that
So
was,
would you have done the same thing Danny did?
yeah.
He said, yeah.
Yeah, I would have burned them before we went down to the Night's Watch. I would have killed everybody in King's Landing. Well, everybody I had to kill in King's Landing and said, look, it's either march or die.
Get down and
lay down. Yeah. ABM. What's that?
Yeah, get down and lay down.
Get down and lay down.
Get down and
But
lay
what if
down.
they
Shout out to
laid
Pete
down?
Seeger.
That's because they laid down. So what if they had laid down? Would
But
you still
I would
burn
have did
them?
it in season 7 when they did what's the dragon court called?
Oh, you talking about the Dragon Pits?
The Dragon Pits.
When they had the meeting. When they had the
meeting
meeting.
the Dragon Pits. I'd have killed everybody then, and then so get down and lay down. Like Cersei wouldn't have left that meeting alive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they laid down. So would you still burn them once
But
they
she
laid
didn't
down?
need them after there was no more White Walkers.
I'm just asking if you would have made the same decision Danny did.
Yes, I would have burned them all.
Okay. Why?
I wouldn't have destroyed the city, but I'd have burned them all.
Okay.
I'd have came through just burning, roasting motherfuckers at the edge of the gates, and been like,
That's
yo,
what she did, and
yeah.
then she sat there and saw all these innocent people running. and was
Even if
like-
they laid down, you still would have burned them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of empathy. So,
Okay.
I'd have burned up all
You never ruled
anybody
with
who's a
an iron
soldier.
hand.
Yeah.
I may have killed everybody.
Yeah, I
who's
would
a
have killed the
soldier.
army, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
have
but
killed
I'm not.
the rest
I mean,
of
I
them.
ain't doing no women.
Because the rest of them don't love Cersei either.
Yeah, they
So-
just they're like, man, I gotta live here. It's
Yeah.
like we live in the U.S. though with Trump. Like,
Right.
man, we don't like Trump.
Exactly. I would be pissed as hell. Somebody burned
like,
me
we
down
gotta kill
because
everybody
Trump.
here
Of
because
Trump.
So let's take your analogy then. How much of a fuck you think Trump gives about us on a day-to-day basis?
None.
I agree that
Exactly.
he's the Cersei in this story, but
Right.
imagine if Justin Trudeau came over here
And killed everybody.
and killed everybody
It was
just
like,
because we
oh,
live
man,
in a
'cause y'all
country
with
that
Trump.
Trump
You're like,
runs.
well, damn, man, you killed my
We
wife
hate
and
him
my
too.
kids.
Right, we hate him too.
I guess
What?
apparently I hold grudges more than y'all do.
No. I held a grudge with that one individual. I would go in there and murk him at the White House.
Exactly.
Not-
What did Cardi B say in Love and Hip Hop our first season?
Forever.
We got beef. We got beef forever.
Forever.
Yeah, forever. I mean, no, I get it, but you don't have beef with everybody.
Right.
But she didn't kill everybody. She just killed
No,
enough.
dude.
Let y'all know.
No, you mean just a.
To
She
chin
killed
check.
everybody.
She
Dude,
did
it was,
kill
we
everybody.
saw
She
two
chin
people
checked.
alive. One
One
of
of
them was
them was
halfway
burned up.
was
Yeah.
dead and then they're dead.
It's just
at
a
this
chin
point.
check. That's all she did. Gave him a chin check. You know what I mean?
Oh, that was more than a chin check.
Yeah.
That was a full body check. So he walks up to her, stabs her up. What did y'all think when he stabbed her?
I saw it coming. I was
Yeah.
not
I
surprised.
mean,
That
we had
wasn't
been talking about it the
surprised.
week before. We thought he was
Yeah.
gonna kill
yeah.
I mean,
her. Like,
it was.
Yeah, like I mean, like even specifically in that moment, like
I was
yeah.
like, it's got to go at this point.
Yeah.
I did think it was a sucker move though. It was like,
How so?
well, I'm
You
saying.
think you should have given her an opportunity to fight?
Well, no, I'm saying that.
To yell and Drogon
I'm
show
saying
up?
that. I'm saying that. I'm saying to go because he didn't give her an explanation. Like he said, "You're my queen. You'll always be my queen." He stabbed her and then he holds her. She's dying.
Why did he need to explain himself?
Because if he really believes what he said immediately before, it would be he could have just ended with, "But I can't live
support
with
this."
I can't live with what you're about to do." You know
I
what
mean,
I'm
he
saying?
said that before. Like, he went up there. I mean, that's how he started the conversation.
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't murdering her then. I'm saying, like, you and I are disagreeing about this point. But if you kill me immediately after, I'm gonna wonder why.
But if we're having a conversation, and I'm asking you to justify your actions, you should already know that I disagree with you because I'm questioning your actions. Like, do I really need to say anything else?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Damn.
Because I don't. I'm just saying, like, in my regular conversations, like, if I question your actions and I don't like your response, I don't need to say shit else. I'm just done.
I disagree with most people on most days, and I've never killed any of them. So I feel like I would need a little bit more exposition if I murdered any of you about the disagreement.
Okay, so if it was me and my boys, and we killed, Shay, you're gonna take this L real quick. If we killed you and we in Castle de la Frierson or whatever, and we like, hey, Shay, we don't like her voice, we gonna kill her. Scott, you shouldn't have married her. We don't like her voice. We kill her. Would you kill all the women and children in my town behind me?
Yes, that's one of the vows I made.
Yeah, one of your vows is not to kill women and children.
When we got married, I told her, I was like, look, if something happens to you, I will burn everything and salt the earth. That's what I told her.
Oh, God.
Am I lying? You're not lying? So, yes, to answer your question. Yes.
And you're not. You can give the most reasonable analogy. Scott's not going to agree with you.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
So.
What I'm saying, but in this instance, I asked this question beforehand. I'm saying, like, I got for real thought. I was like, yeah, I would be like you would not care about it. I burned it off the earth. Like, yeah, fuck everybody else. I'm like Jamie Lannister. We're all that matters.
We all we got. So when he stabbed her, Drogon flies in. Y'all thought it was over for Jon Snow then?
Oh yeah, I did. I thought it would be more poetic too.
I didn't. I don't know. I just didn't. I saw maybe Dany giving that instruction, and then Drogon would do it, but I didn't see him doing. Oh, like she would be
dying, and it'd be like Dracarys
or like not even like her dying. Just like that's the only way I saw Drogon burning Jon. Like I just didn't see him like taking that action on his own, because I think they've shown like of several different ways throughout this season that Drogon has some sort of, I don't know if it was respect or whatever for Jon. So I just didn't see him taking that action on his own, even with him killing Dany.
Well, but I mean that's one of the problems. That's one of the issues I had, because when Dany and Jon go out to the north, they go to their cave they can live 1,000 years, no one will find them at. Drogon gives Jon this look like, "Yo, you kissing my mama" type of thing, and we joked about it.
Yeah,
but it's like, so Jon's lineage of being a Targaryen doesn't seem to matter. Drogon's
because it's kind of half. It's
exactly.
Like you cool.
Exactly.
But but I don't know.
Exactly.
You cool.
And I think there's no explanation. And so for me, what I wind up interpreting it as is that Jon's lineage as a Targaryen maybe have given Drogon a hesitation about killing him, but
and then he's like, I just need to take my mom.
Exactly, but by him going to be the Night's Watch, it didn't really seem to matter for anything. It's like all it was the inciting incident that made Dany go crazy. So they gave Jon justification for killing her. So it seemed like had they not told Jon he was a Targaryen, everything would have worked out for everyone, because she would have still been in love with Jon. She still would have listened to counsel. She still would have felt like she had love in King's Landing. And so a happier ending would have been to Jon to everybody just keep their fucking mouth shut about Jon's actual lineage.
When we get to Bran being the king, I'll kind of give my view on why revealing his lineage was actually important to the storyline.
Okay.
But a question in general I have is for the books is there a history or like any sort of rule that dragons don't kill other Targaryens?
No, they kill other Targaryens all the fucking time.
They have dragon battles between
all
Targaryens.
The fucking time.
Got it. Okay, because I was just wondering, like, I don't know, like.
But at the same time, he was riding his brother, and like that kind of like, oh, you kind. And does he know that he killed her though?
He knew he killed her.
No, he didn't see it.
Yeah, so
he came in and he's holding her, so he could have looked at it like, dude, like you came to somebody else shanked her up, and you're holding her and loving her.
Drogon was standing out there guarding her.
I know, but
he was trying to. How could it be anybody when he was guarding her and he's watching everybody who enters?
So I took out of it was that Drogon blamed the chair because he saw a sword in her. So he saw a sword in Dany, and he blamed that chair of swords for her death, and that's why when you look at it, he shoots out fire and anguish, but then when he gets himself together, he burns down the chair of swords because he thought that the sword was in her and the chair of swords killed her, so he destroyed the chair of the swords.
And I looked at it
because he's a stupid animal.
I look at it completely. I was going to say I look at it completely differently. He is very smart, and he sees that her path and everything she did for this throne is the reason that she died. So I'm just going to burn it down so nobody can separate.
So how would Drogon separate? So taking your argument, how would Drogon separate the building that she fought for to specifically the chair that was there?
Because that's all she talked about was the Iron Throne.
But
she
how
talked
the fuck
about
does
a building.
Drogon knows what an Iron Throne is?
She hadn't even seen it before.
Because he's smart. I mean,
she hadn't even seen it before. Remember?
Right,
but she described it.
Right,
that's what they know is bad. Though
in her description, she says, "What does that look like to a kid that can't even count to 20?"
I think that's more of to people that are in the books though, because the Iron Throne in the books is like fucking
literally made out of 1,000
and it's like
swords.
30, 40 feet high. Though you had to walk up steps all the way to sit in the Iron Throne.
No, I get that. But
that's what they're saying.
Drogon is younger than Dany is.
How we look as book readers, how we think the book would be with it.
That's what I'm saying.
But maybe it really wasn't though.
But Drogon is younger than Dany is, and he's a dragon, not a person able to process information. So in her story, well, I mean,
he's not a person, but I think he's able to process information.
No, I mean, like I said, we can disagree on that. But that's why I thought I got out of it. Drogon's reaction was because visually, what was in her chest was the same thing that the sword was made of, and that's why he blamed it and didn't kill Jon. Because if Jon had thought that, you know what, me riding your brother was enough, he wouldn't have reacted the way he did. Jon was scared. Jon started backing away like, yo, what's happening here? Yeah, I'm shook.
Either that or like, I mean, I understand that like one of the reasons that Dany was fireproof was because she used blood magic too, but I didn't know if it was also, just for the benefit of the fans that Drogon knew that if he even tried to burn Jon, like it wasn't going to work.
But that would have been something to test out, though. You see what I'm saying?
Like that. I would agree. I do agree with that. On the series
finale, that would have been something. That was a great thing to do.
Yeah, I do
have
agree
him try
with
to burn Jon. Jon doesn't burn. He burns the chair instead.
Right.
That's a great answer to give us.
That'd have been that'd
been a great answer.
I really wanted to see that, so I agree with that.
Because actually going back, that would have been interesting to see, because remember they're going to burn Jon's body when he died the first time. That would have been interesting if his body didn't burn when they wanted to burn him after they killed him in the Night's Watch.
Exactly.
And then Melisandre came back and revived him. That'd have been kind of gangster.
And it's so but this is my point from earlier that what they did was they gave individual characters great story arcs, but in those story arcs they didn't tie up loose ends. So the Lord of Light brought back Jon so he could stab Dany. But Dany could be killed by lots of things, apparently, just not fire. So why is Jon the only person that had to come to survive to get close enough to Dany to kill her when other things could have killed her? So Jon's whole story arc, and then the thing is, everybody else who's fulfilled the Lord of Light's prophecy died almost immediately afterwards.
And maybe
after they did that. So it's like they never gave us closure about why Jon was brought back to life.
But maybe King's Landing needed to be destroyed.
And Bran knew that though, which is a whole other thing.
Okay, but
I think everything was in place.
But why did Dany have to die then?
Because she was gonna go do something to the rest.
So Beric died immediately after saving the person who was being alive to create the Night King. The Red Witch, I forget her name. The Red Witch died immediately.
Melisandre?
Yeah, after giving that person the impetus and the confidence to go ahead and kill the Night King. So what we've seen previously is that when people fulfill their prophecy and fulfill their destiny, they die almost immediately afterwards. Jon got saved 3 seasons ago, and then he kills Dany because let's say that was his prophecy to kill Dany, but anybody could have stabbed Dany. Like he didn't have to bring somebody back to life to stab Dany. Shit, fucking Arya was there and could have done it. Arya could have done it.
But there were
she wasn't a badass like that somebody couldn't run up on her. Basically,
Arya could have. She could have killed. She could have killed one in Sully, used his fucking face, and bladed her. And that's the thing.
But
so Arya's skill for taking people's faces was never used after she killed what was the old guy's name?
Walter Frey.
Walter Frey. She never used again. So that was my point earlier, is that we have all these open plot holes about people that have skills that could have done things that wind up not materializing at the end.
But did they need to materialize at the end? Like, everything that everybody did throughout the series got them to this point. Like, does everybody need to use their power move in every single season and every single episode?
At the end, yeah, they all do.
Not necessarily. I mean,
Jerry
I just
Seinfeld had to be
disagree with
funny
that.
at the end of Seinfeld. You know?
I mean, I don't know. I disagree with that part. I don't know if there were any plot holes. I just think that there were a lot of anticlimactic and unsatisfied pieces, but I don't know if they're holes.
Well, I think they're holes only because the show introduced things to be important and then never tied them to why they were important.
They were important. They were important when they used those. Like, for her to use Walder, I mean, maybe that's what the purpose was. She didn't need to do that. Like, it was not necessary for her to pull that power move at any other point in this season.
But
why would that have been necessary?
In real life, I would agree with you. Mm-hmm. But in a narrative story, typically everything you introduced, I forgot the name of the author, but it was a pretty popular opinion, and people still stick with it. If you introduce a gun in the first act of a play, the gun has to fire before the end of the series, the end of the show. Yes. Because why introduce the gun?
It did fire though. It just didn't fire again.
But that's what I'm saying. So Arya went through that whole training just so she could kill Walter Frey, an old man would have died of old age in 6 weeks.
She killed his entire family, which ended up being important.
But she didn't have to change. She didn't have to have the ability to change her face in order to do that, though.
Yeah, she did.
No, she didn't. Who knew what Arya looked like? No one knew what Arya looked like at that point. She was a child. She was 11 years old when she ran away from the King's Landing. She could have came back at 17 and killed everybody, and no one had thought she could have worked at the whorehouse and just murdered every cat that went in the whorehouse.
But it was easier and simpler to gain everybody's sort of trust in that moment and at that dinner, and it was satisfying. I mean, it was, sort of a recreation of where her mother and brother died.
And if that was the only thing, I could live with it. But Bran's three-eyed raven thing. So during the fight with the dead, Bran did reconnaissance with crows, and that reconnaissance never turned out to anything because we all just depend on Arya sneaking up on him at the end. So what was his three-eyed raven? Like, him just being a three-eyed raven and him having a whole bunch of knowledge made him suitable for king. It just seems like an excessive amount of work to go through. Mm-hmm. And we spent years watching Bran get dragged around up north to become a three-eyed raven and not be ready to set another, for not to really have a payoff. And I think that's my point.
It did, because that's the reason that Tyrion selected him.
Yeah, but I'm saying that had Bran not been a three-eyed raven, him being a noble family who had 7 people,
he wouldn't have been chosen.
I'm saying 7 people out of the 11 people or 18 people that were there had ties to the Stark household. Then he still could have been a legitimate vote. And from a majority perspective, he could have got it, because at the end of the day, Arya would have voted for him. Brianna Tarth would have voted for him. Davos
Sansa wouldn't have voted for him.
Right,
no, but the reason he was selected was because of his story. I mean, that's the whole reason Tyrion said that he picked him, is because the world survives on great stories. And Bran taking on the three-eyed, or becoming the three-eyed raven, gave him the ability to have the memory of the past, the present. So that's the whole reason he was selected. If he didn't have that power, why would he be picked?
Well, and this is where we disagree.
He's also a good pick, though, because he's not wavered by random shit. You can't come in there and be like, "Hey man, I'm gonna give you some pussy though, and I'm gonna go ahead and you're gonna be different."
But he wouldn't have had that personality if he hadn't become the three-eyed raven.
But he's totally stoic.
I feel like Arya has,
and it's because he became a three-eyed raven.
I agree, 100%.
Well,
he's the best pick to be a king.
Yeah, like everybody is in the place they are because of things that happen throughout the series.
And you see that he's smart enough. Even going fast forward a little bit, he's smart enough to know, like, all right, man, Tyrion got this shit. Like, I'm finna go do some other three-eyed raven stuff, but I trust Tyrion enough to handle this business.
Right. And
I'm finna go through. You let me know when y'all got the big decisions, but I'm finna roll out real quick and go sit and look over the ocean and chill out. No, I'm dead ass serious. Tyrion can handle all this mundane shit day to day. I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, and I just kind of have a different view on like what makes a movie have a good ending, what has a show have a good ending, and for me, it's not always wrapping things up with a neat bow. Like if it leaves you still talking about the story and wondering what this and that, I think it's a really good ending. And so I don't think they wrapped anything up, and I think that the things that they left open leave for interesting commentary, more stories. You know, if they want to continue on this series or do spin-offs, I mean, nothing is wrapped up. I mean, where the hell did Drogon? I mean, I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah, go.
Well, you know, where did Drogon go? And you know, Bran saying that he was going to warg and figure it out, and you know, him saying he was last seen east. I mean, I think it leaves a huge opening for Dany to even be resurrected because he said he was flying east to Essos, I guess.
Yeah,
because that's where the
Valyria
and the Red Witches exist.
Yeah, in Valyria.
But that's another point though. The Red Witches told us how important that Dany was. And when she was in Marine, and then that Red Witch, who presumably still hasn't died, they could bring Dany back.
Right.
So for all we know that Drogon's gonna do that. No, that Red Witch didn't.
No, the other one, the younger one.
The younger one.
The one in Marine. Okay,
but that's kind of my point, though. It's like we talk about better stories. There is literally a religion that exists right now from somebody that came back from the dead, and that's Jon Stark's story, who also happens to be the most likely and closer blood relative to the former Targaryen king. Arya learned how to shape-shift faces and murder people, and she killed the indestructible personification of death.
Yeah.
I'm saying that Bran being crippled, where it's cold, being dragged around by somebody.
But that's
it doesn't strike me as such an overwhelming better story than those two
but
things.
the fact that he's crippled and that he has all this knowledge and everything you
and
need
power at
Jon
this point.
came back
but
from
Jon ain't
the
smart. He ain't
dead.
got no shit. Jon is basically Jamie Light.
So let me
Jon is Jamie Light.
So ask me a question. Jamie, tell me one thing that Bran did more impressive than coming back from being killed.
The dude became the 3-Eyed Raven.
Okay, so how is that more impressive than coming back from being dead? You know why?
Because
the 3-Eyed Ravens. Because the 3-Eyed Ravens, when they get killed, they stay dead.
No, but the
3-Eyed Ravens stay dead.
That's fine. But they didn't have no Red Witch. The Red Witch can make anybody come back alive. Barry and
Beric Dondarrion.
Still more impressive. That's more impressive than saying.
I think we just have different. I mean,
because he came back alive.
Yeah, I think we just have different ideas of like. I mean, it's
Jon
definitely an impressive thing.
Jon rode a dragon. He became the king of the North. He brought the wildlands.
Oh, Bush was king of North too.
Huh?
Bran was the king of the North for a minute.
When?
He was the king of the North.
Yeah, when before Ramsay came up there.
Yes, he was the king of the North.
Okay, so he was the king of the North.
Yeah.
He brought the wildlands back into the
fold. We agree with you. He has an impressive resume. That does not mean that he is the best person to rule.
Right,
Jon makes emotional decisions.
Yes.
Oh, no, hold on. I'm not disagreeing he's the best person to rule. I'm saying that Tyrion's premise of it was he had the best story. I'm disputing that he has the best story. I don't think
he didn't say he had the best. I don't know.
He knows the most.
No, he said who has a better story than Bran the Broker. He literally said
yeah,
those
because
words.
he knows the story of our past, present, and future.
Yeah,
right.
It's all of that coupled with the things that happened to him.
That's why he was like, this dude know everything.
Yeah, so I mean, so if Jon after coming, but listen, so if Jon after coming back from the dead had done the same things
Jon would be super
that Bran did, I would agree with you. What did Jon? I mean, Jon, yeah, he won but he came back and did the same shit he was doing before he died.
Right, but Bran didn't do shit anyway. Like during the fight of the Night King, all he did was war against the fucking Ravens, and didn't even get past
he
didn't even pass that intel on to anybody.
Maybe that's not what he was supposed to do.
He knew the future though. He set this up.
But that makes it even worse because when you play it out logically, then Bran knew that Dany was going to burn down King's Landing.
That's why I'm saying it was probably necessary.
And he did it. He let her kill. So Dany killed all those people because she thought it was right. Bran let her kill all those people because he knew that I would get chosen to be king. Like that makes it a more shitty thing to do.
No.
It takes away the
I'm gonna take your shit up to another level though. They killed my daddy. Like I'm giving you another level. They killed my daddy in King's Landing, so I'm even more beefed out.
Right, but they also killed her daddy in King's Landing, so it doesn't make make her claim any less. They killed her.
But yes, but that's a different thing. That was a different.
How is it different?
But the people didn't choose that though. They were cheering for you. No, that was an insurrection.
But the people also didn't choose the beheading of Ned Stark.
Yes, they did. They were cheering for it.
The monarch chose the beheading of Ned Stark.
But they were cheering for it.
Right. So who knows?
They weren't cheering when King's Landing was being sacked that time.
Right, but I'm saying who knows that though.
They weren't though.
I'm saying that visual was not represented in the show. We don't know that. We believe it to be true. Don't know it to be true.
Look, I can see Bran. Bran had way more beef than Daenerys did by far. If you talking about with King's Landing.
Based on what?
She didn't even know her daddy. She didn't know her daddy. She knew what the Iron Throne even looked like.
Her family built the Red Keep. Bran doesn't either. Bran had never been to King's Landing before he showed up today. So
No. I'm talking about he knew about this going on with my dad.
Her family,
I'm alive and I remember. She was like, what, 1 or 2 when her dad died?
I'm saying this. Her family conquered Westeros and created the Red Keep and King's Landing. King's Landing, and it was hers by birthright because her family literally built it. Robert Baratheon's had an insurrection based on a lie because being a hater because the Stark daughter Lyanna Stark loved a Targaryen instead of the Baratheon, so he wound up killing the Targaryen and then dethroning the Targaryen based on a lie that no one told her. So I'm saying by the rules of that had been established in the show at the beginning, Dany had a better claim to the throne, saves Jon's existence than anybody.
Right, and I don't think anybody's disagreeing.
No, I don't think
nobody's disagreeing with that. But at the point where we're making the decision about who's going to rule the 7 kingdoms or 6, Dany is dead, so she's not an option. So right. I mean, everybody agreed up to the point where before she burned down King's Landing that she was a good choice. So nobody's disagreeing with any of that. But our choices at this point are Bran, Sansa, Arya, Gendry, all of those people in this meeting.
Edmund Tully standing up like, I fought a lot of battles.
Oh my God, that was just comic relief.
Like, hey man, Arya sit there, remember on Martin,
Sansa,
sit your ass down. Remember the old angry brother?
Yeah.
On Martin, sit your ass down.
I mean, because as soon as he stood up, that's what I yelled at my TV, like, sit down.
Yeah,
so when Sansa was
got hemmed up.
Yeah, when Sansa was like,
you ain't did nothing in 15 years.
Yeah, Sansa was like, Uncle, please sit.
On a 10-year show, you ain't did nothing.
Right.
You got only thing we saw you was get married though, is to try to lock up some stuff though. And they set that up for somebody to get killed.
Yeah.
So what happened to his wife? I wonder.
Well, in the books, remember she's like in a tower or whatever, and then he never seen her again.
I don't know. After they took him to
and then Blackwater, we show him back up being a bitch like, just give it up, y'all. Yeah. They got us. It's like a dude that's like, they got us all. They got us all. They got all the paperwork on everybody. I ain't done this all out. Everybody come on out. They got us.
I accept the series finale based on what was explained in season 6. I do not accept it based on what was explained for the first 6 seasons. 7 I had some issues with, but the first 6 seasons I feel like it was they opened up a lot of plot lines that were super intriguing and interesting when they showed the show, but they never closed it out. What happens with the Iron Bank? What I mean, I feel like, and you guys.
Why do we need to know? How would that have helped you?
Well, okay, so why spend so much time on it then?
I don't think they spent that much time on it.
They really did.
Not really.
They had a whole meeting with the Iron Bank multiple times.
How many out of all of how many episodes have there been in this entire series?
Episodes.
How many were focused on the Iron Bank?
Focused on? I can't say it.
Not very many. So I mean, I don't think that was a big. I mean, Shay, as a sort of cursory viewer of Johnson family, a sort of a cursory viewer. Do you know what the Iron Bank is?
The Iron Bank is the one who give them that money.
Okay, but other than that, what else do you know about the Iron Bank?
That's it.
Okay, that's it. So I mean, I don't know if it means more in the books, but to me, like I consider myself a pretty avid watcher of the show.
What did Varys see in the fire?
That's a good question.
Who's the Azor Ahai?
I do. So there are other questions. I agree with you. There are other questions I would have liked answered. But what happened to the Iron Bank ain't one of them.
I mean, I do wish they would have tied up some of the characters, and I wish 3 or 4 more episodes, like I said, would have tied up some other random characters. You could have tied up Dario Naharis.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that.
Or some mention of his name.
Yeah,
like, he's still holding out, or it's bad, and maybe the Unsullied is going back to help get Marine in those areas back.
Because now he's just the king of that city, right?
Right.
He's basically running with the.
Or do we even know if he's still there? So I agree. That's something that I would have liked to have some reference to.
And then even the story with Dorne even was bogus to a certain extent because we spent
who the heck was that?
Dorne was with
no, I'm just saying like who was that showed up to that council meeting?
We don't know his name. We don't know his name. I guess I think maybe it was the son of
Oberyn?
Of a Bashir from Deep Space
Nine.
I mean, his name is Bashir on Deep Space Nine. Maybe it was Bashir's son. Because he looked like him a little bit, though, so maybe it was his son.
Yeah, it could have been.
And he grew up a little bit, and it was like, I ain't a
like Robin Aaron. I mean...
Robin Aaron was like 35 years old.
I know. I told you.
It's like an
No, Robin Aaron grew up a lot more faster, though.
I mean, that's the same actor.
So it's the same guy?
It's the same actor.
Oh man, he was looking like 25 years old.
Well, I
Life
mean, yeah,
comes
because
at you
he,
fast.
yeah, well, yeah. So I mean, he hasn't been,
and he had a little bit more swagger to him. He didn't have like as much the angst.
No, he
Well,
and
no, he stopped that breastfeeding. So
well, no, I saw some funny memes that were like, this is like the benefits of breastfeeding, and it had Robin Aaron next to Tormund. And they're like, that's how you grow big and strong.
That's why he became so tall. So
Right,
fast.
yeah. No,
and he
I mean,
was all
this is-
fly, had his cape and shit.
Right.
No.
Leg was crossed like a Mac.
Yeah, like
Yeah, no,
I'm
his-
there,
his
he's
glow
like,
up
he's
was
educated,
real.
so, like somebody educated in bureaucracy. Like this is what needs to be
He
done.
matured.
And this is the
but no,
questions.
he and the actor that play Bran are friends, and so they're like, there's like pictures of them growing up, and it's the same
Can I
person.
ask one more question?
Sure.
How the fuck does Samuel become fucking a maester when
Why
he's
he's
finished
married?
travel?
It's my bike.
Into training. I mean, yeah, being married is also fucked up. But I'm saying he didn't finish his training. Like he cured Jorah,
Grace, yeah.
and then he wanted riding out like a little bit afterwards, stealing some books. How the fuck is he the maester?
Because Bran wanted him to be.
Yep, there you go.
That's it.
Because your man's want you to be.
Right.
It's
And
like
he
Jeff
was, it's
Sessions
not like,
getting attorney
So
general.
nepotism.
Jeff Sessions getting attorney general.
hey, that's the way shit happens.
Jeff Sessions getting attorney general
Yeah, that was some
because
bullshit.
because your homie said that you wanted to be like that. So what do y'all think about John going back to the black? I think that was suitable for him.
I didn't have a problem with that.
I didn't
He's
either.
not, he would have been good at bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Who really want to see him like sitting in a meeting and be like,
I was done
I
with
was
John.
questioning himself. and
Sir
shit like a
Davos,
sucker.
what do you believe?
Like
He'd
a
have been just
sucker.
asking questions like, "What you think?"
Right, yeah. So he
No-
would
no
not
definitive
have been a
thoughts.
good ruler. So, yeah. No, I was fine with that.
So Bron, I want to talk about Bron now.
Yeah.
Before we even get out, like that's one of like my biggest ones. Like Bron came in there. That dude went from a sales swordsman to the mate of the master of coin, which is the third
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, because
in the
wasn't
kingdom.
that was Littlefinger's position?
His little fingers.
Yeah, so I think
And then
it's
Tyrion had it after that when his dad came back.
yeah. I mean, I think it's an interesting juxtaposition between those characters. I mean, Littlefinger was very manipulative, but they're both Bronn and Littlefinger are very, I think, strategic people. So I think it's fitting for him. I mean, but he definitely had a big glow up.
Dude, he had the biggest come up of
Yeah.
anybody in the show.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dude went from a regular dude on these streets, and he's over Highgarden.
Right. Lord of Highgarden. Yeah. So I mean, Tyrion followed through with his promise.
And Tyrion is still over the Lannisters. Well, the gold mines are dried up, so I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't even know if they had as much power as they used to.
Yeah. I mean, he's just hand of king, which I think we all predicted was going to happen.
If he wasn't gonna be on the Iron Throne, he had to be the hand. Of the
Yeah,
king.
he was going to be the hand.
What do you think about Davos on being on the console as the ships? Because he had the ships in Blackwater. I guess that's
Yeah.
the throwback to where we even introduced him being a part of.
I think that was a little bit of fan satisfaction because people love Davos so much, but it's not something I would have seen realistically happening.
Well, I mean, he was over the ships that with Stannis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's
I
good
mean,
with ships.
he is.
Good things
I
about
actually
them.
think he would have been a better Master of Whispers, although I don't understand why Bran needs a Master of Whispers. But
Just because I think he just wants somebody just to give him the tea. He need a TMZ.
I guess while he's warging.
Yeah. Now, Brienne, though, with the book for
Yeah.
the Kingsguard.
Yeah.
What do you think about her line?
She's the commander of the Kingsguard.
But what do you think about her line in the book, though?
What did she
Not
lie about?
lying, but she didn't give the full story with Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
She just said that last part, but she didn't explain about how Jamie became the King Slayer.
Yeah. I
She
would
could
have.
explain that and say like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is why he became the King Slayer. He
Yeah.
saved all these people because of that."
Yeah, that was definitely a missed opportunity, and I don't know if it was the writing or if it was intentional because she redeemed him in other ways, but she could have gone back and
Yeah, 'cause she was writing the
completed that
history, though.
story.
Yeah,
She had the
she
opportunity to write
wasn't
the
messy on that.
No, I think she was messing with not giving Jamie his regard, and not being the King Slayer no more.
Well, I mean, but I don't. Well, it was the Kingslayer part was already in there. The
Yeah, but she could
Oathbreaker-
have went in there and said like, "We found out that this, and this was because of that."
Yeah.
Well, but he still broke his oath, and I think so. What was in there before was he was the oath breaker, and he did give an oath, and he killed. I mean, she didn't give him credit for saving lots of people in King's Landing, which may be fair.
I
but she
think.
did
I mean,
go
I think
through-
that's sort of implied,
Yeah.
though. Yeah. So I don't know if the justification for his actions was necessary. It's just sort of laying out the facts.
Yeah, and the only thing I didn't like about Bronn was that Tyrion had to explain like last season how debt worked. So I feel like him becoming a master of coins.
This is why it's some
that seemed
gangster
like
moves, though.
that seemed like a
But that's why
stretch.
it's the most gangster move that Bron ended up being a master of coin.
Yeah.
Even though Master of War probably would have been a better thing for him.
I agree. Yeah.
I think Master of War might have been his better spot.
I do have one question. Why the fuck does Bran need a Master of Whispers?
Yeah.
When his little spiders could literally be spiders.
Right. Yeah. Scott took a bathroom break, but we just talked about
I
it.
don't know. I think no. Reason I think that is, I think he just needs TMZ. Like he just needs somebody to be like, "What you hearing on these streets, though, man?"
Yeah. Like while he's warging, he can't see everything.
But he can't warg all day, every day.
Right, but he can see everyone's history, though, right?
Yeah, but it's only it's not every individual thing going on. I think there's a history of, and he has to figure out and connect things too, though. Mm-hmm. So the more connections I have, the better.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't explain that well in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And I put my business out in the streets, Raven.
So Padre,
I just wanted to
Padre being
explain.
a knight, he's a knight of the Kingsguard now, so he ain't gonna get none no more.
Oh my goodness.
Or we just throwing that out the window though. I mean, I guess we are throwing it out the window.
I mean, they went in the brothels.
Yeah.
The Kingsguard went in the brothels in the first season.
No, but I'm saying, but they're not supposed to be though.
But they were. So it's sort of
you're
an
not supposed to be
unfollowed
siren
rule.
on children.
Right, but I'm saying that they still use the brothel. I mean, for instance,
the one dude that Arya had the hit on.
Sandor Clegane was also in the Kingsguard, and he used the brothels.
Yeah, and then the dude that Arya was after, he was in multiple joints. No, the reason I was saying this is because Podrick has this thing about having supposed to be a big penis, and all of a sudden he can't use it.
Yeah.
In theory.
Well, no, I mean, because even on the Night's Watch, they talked about how it just says we can't father any children. It didn't say that we can't engage in sexual acts. So
we go into technicalities. Then.
Yeah.
And I mean
that's
guess it's
the way
out the
they
window. The maester, your head maester's got a kid on the way.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and a
Those
kid
rules
and
changed.
a stepchild.
And
Yeah.
what happened to meat pie?
he's still making pot pies.
You making them pot pies, man. That'd have been kind of, would have been dope though, if they'd have had him cooking on the ship with Arya though.
Oh yeah, that would have been good.
That'd be kind of dope though. If he was like sitting.
I need
there
my
in the,
personal chef.
Yeah, like I need my. And he's sitting there like, I got you, and he just bring out the meat pie to her while she's standing on the little deck. You'd been like, oh, that's kind of dope.
Or well, I guess Gentry couldn't go with her because he's now.
Now Gentry's out there. He was trying to get his play on. Though. He had a brand new fit.
He did. He looked good. I think he's been working out because he's going to be on a new series too. Although
He had a cape on. He was like. He had a random nobleman with him, and like I didn't know this motherfucker though, but I guess he my family.
Yeah, he kept
and
it
then
alive.
Like, you a Baratheon now? Oh, well, I run it now. That's what they said. You want to be down or what?
Right.
You
Get
hear?
down or lay down.
Look.
Yeah.
The streets is watching. They gave us a lot of stuff.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, well,
do you want to go through run through your rapid fire questions real quick?
Sure.
Some of them we've covered, but yeah, let's talk about some of the ones we haven't. And then I have one to add on.
Well, add your one, and then I'm gonna.
So is Bran gonna pass on his powers at some point? Because I think they didn't agree with Sam's suggestion of democracy, but we have some sort of modified form of democracy,
We have
I
an
guess.
electoral college.
Yeah, there you go. So we have the American way of deciding things, except we don't pretend that the people have a say. But anyway, so if Bran can't father children, and we aren't saying that there's automatic right based on lineage to the throne. At some point, is he going to pass on his powers before his death? Is there going to be another three-eyed raven or whatever?
Or does that become a part of you being the king?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, if that's
like hey man, I know you.
If that's the basis for your right to the throne.
So a couple questions that I asked is how do they clean up King's Landing so quickly?
Yeah. I don't know that they really did. I mean, because they're meeting in the middle of an arena.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah.
They're meeting the old dragon area.
So how does Tyrion's honeycomb and the jackass joke end?
I think it's funny that it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Is there something you just don't know about?
Yeah, I like that it doesn't.
Is Bran actually bad because he let the city burn?
Yeah, I like that question. Because I told you, when we were talking about Bran possibly taking the throne and, what he's been doing this whole series, I said before that he might be the Thanos of the series, and I still believe that.
Because he was sitting there plotting. He was looking off into the distance, being like, I'm going to get this paper.
Right, because if we really are going to go along with Bran knew all of this was going to happen, he allowed King's Landing to be destroyed and believed that it was necessary for, Westeros.
And he let Winterfell be sacked too a little bit with the Night King. He knew that all you gotta do is get Ira to go out there and jump in the middle of the air and stab him up.
All right,
Yeah.
so what was the point of the moment when Sam suggested democracy? They weren't going to accept it. And the second part, which is why I asked that question, is so Davos was a regular born person. So was Brienne. But they still joined the Lords and seemed not to be on with the regular people.
No, they didn't laugh. I watched it. They didn't laugh and stuff. The Lords, the people that already had the paper, they was the ones laughing.
Okay.
It was people that already were Lords. They was like, I mean, I guess.
Is Davos still married? And what happens to his wife?
Is that wife? I thought his wife is dead.
He never said that in the show.
I thought he did. I thought his wife.
Yeah, I thought he talks
too.
about that though, because he lost his daughter too. That's why he got so close to Shireen.
Right, I thought his whole family was dead.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought his son
And
and daughter died.
And his son died.
I thought his son and daughter died. I thought his wife was.
Yeah,
at
I think
home
his
still.
wife died way
Yeah.
before. That's why he was so like, "Yo, I'm riding with you, Jon Snow."
Yeah, to go back to your question about the point of Sam suggesting democracy, I just think that was another comic relief moment to kind of poke fun at us as Americans. But
And also, I think it was like electoral college, but also the thing of like, we still need to have this council to choose. We ain't gonna let them all out there choose. It's gonna still be a choice amongst these lords.
Did Gilly
should
have a
always still
boy
be
and
able
did she name him John?
I don't think enough time has passed. I don't think her gestation period's over.
Okay. What about you? Would she have a boy and would she name him John? After he did what he did with Danny.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, their loyalty was to him, not her.
Yeah, they ride with him. And they only knew her like 6 months.
And the most important question is who braided Danny's hair after Masani died?
Oh God!
Actually,
Drogon
no,
learned,
one of the
or
FOI did.
no, Grey. I mean, I was about to say Grey Worm had been
It was like
watching.
being in jail.
Yeah.
It was like being in jail. Them cats know
Great, no, I mean, well, that
they
Grey.
learn different too. They learn different things. There's one dude that's in the Unsullied that's in the back. That's like he's like the little braider. And they like they get down to him, and we all fucked up.
Not that
Grey
Grey Worm did it.
So
Like
what
he's
were they
been
learning
watching
skills
her.
of braiding hair while they was out there murdering motherfuckers though? Is the question.
Grey Worm has been watching
It's a
Masande
dude
do it
named
for
Light
years.
Worm that
Light
don't
Worm.
be killing nobody for real though. And like you gotta protect him. He the braider. He the backup braider.
And this is not a question for me, but it was a meme on Twitter, so I thought I'd say it. So how strong was Jaime's Kingslayer game where he tried to murder Bran 8 years before
Yeah.
he became king? Like that was commitment to a
Yeah.
bit.
Right.
I kill all kings.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Why is there still a Night Watch? I like that one.
well, I mean, I said that before. Well, I said that after I first watched it, but Tyrion actually answered that question. When John actually asked him, "Is there still a Night Watch?" And Tyrion goes, "There'll always be a Night Watch as long as there are broken people and bastards."
Yeah. I mean, I kind of look at it as the Alcatraz of Westeros.
So do y'all believe he went with the Wildlings?
I don't.
I think he just escorted them back.
I think
out.
so
do.
too.
Yeah, I think because if it doesn't, it undermines this whole compromise of having a duty. So he did his duty to follow the wildlands back north of the wall to their lands, and I think he came back to the wall and did his time. Now I do think that it was silly for them to do the compromise with Grey Worm, and he left the day that Jon left because Jon could just went. For all Grey Worm knows, Jon could just went to fucking Winterfell and just sat there and just chilled. Chill the fuck out, you know what I'm saying? But I think Jon's duty, he wouldn't allow him to do it. But I feel like the negotiation wasn't played out to its fullest because since Grey Worm leaves ultimately to North.
I don't think Grey Worm cared that much. I mean, he said like once he was done with this war, he was going to North. So I think there was no place for him left there at that point. They have a new king. They said they were going to do what they were going to do. He doesn't need to stay there and micromanage. They went to North.
But and I get that, but I'm saying I think
Africa.
Grey Worm's beef with Jon was more significant than his beef with Tyrion, and time did not smooth out his beef with Tyrion. Tyrion only let one person go. So Tyrion's betrayal of Dany was letting one person who he had a institutionalized reason to love go, not because it would have undermined Dany's taking the throne. It would just let him live because he was a air quotes
But we got to pay the
betrayer.
debt still of our queen, though. That's
Which is fine, but I'm saying, but Jon actually murdered her.
Yeah,
like,
no.
you know what I'm saying. So
I don't disagree with that point. I just think that Grey Worm's commitment to Missandei was stronger than his beef with Jon.
All right, we're gonna be back next week with more discussion. Well, we have Tyler on here, hopefully.
No emails this week?
Yeah, but they all just like cussing and stuff at people.
What
Like,
y'all think about John's recommitment to the wolf?
Oh yeah, he
Ooh.
finally had that. Johnson family just talked about the reunion between Jon and Ghost, which I was happy about. I mean, he got his ear chewed off. All he wanted was some pets.
he had to have something happen to him that we didn't see him.
yeah,
After everything that happened, we like you can't be coming back and you got a full, you still good to go. I was this point we didn't see Nymeria again.
Yeah,
Right.
I would have liked to have seen that.
And that's why I hate it, because now it's like it makes her whole interaction with Nymeria in season 7, her last interaction, and it seems pointless. It's like they just have to add that thing.
Not necessarily, because I kind of thought that initially, but now thinking about it right now and the way that they take Arya's character, I think it's consistent with what happened with Nymeria. There's nothing more to say. I have my own mission now. That's where I'm going.
I got my
and
people
and
doing
that's
what I'm
the
doing.
same thing Arya did. Like, all of my family is where they are. I'm going off to see what else is west of Westeros.
That's a whole spinoff you can do on Arya.
Yeah, her Christopher Columbus mission.
This
She discovers a new world.
Yeah,
It's gonna be all black
Right.
people too.
Turns out this is also America.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
There's another part to the map.
Yeah.
Unless you believe in flat Earth, but
But yeah, it was just people cussing, just mad and upset the last episode.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't.
no productive emails.
No, it was not even productive emails. One dude just said fuck. He had like 10 fucks in a row.
Okay.
All
right.
Ready for the next show.
I will say
All right.
this though, Grey Worm, the actor, his name escapes me, so I apologize for it. But Grey Worm was on Ebro in the morning on 97.1. It's a 47-minute interview. It's worth listening to.
Oh, it's pretty good?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
What is it? This? Do you get more of his personality in general type thing?
Yeah, his personality, and he gives more of the actor's portrayal of what Grey Worm was thinking. Mm-hmm. And so I thought this is a really interesting. It's a really interesting interview, and I think you should listen to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's I'm forgetting his name too, but he's actually an R&B singer as well.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a singer?
Oh, Richie. Yeah, Richie Raleigh. Yeah, he or Raleigh Richie. I don't know which one it is, but yeah, no, he's an R&B singer.
Yeah, no, it's a really really good
He's
listen.
a singer? Mm-hmm. Why is everybody gotta be a singer though? No disrespect to you, Grey Worm.
He's just multi-talented.
Right, but that's his job. Like, this is his first acting gig. He was
Right.
a singer. He has like 3 albums.
Mm-hmm.
This is his first acting gig.
He's super young too. Mm-hmm. I thought he was older than what he is. Okay. Shout out to you, Grey Worm, man. You doing your thing. You're from England too.
Yeah, he's a British actor.
Yeah. So thank y'all for listening. We will be back next week. Give us emails, landocalpod@gmail.com. Did you like it? Did you love it? Your thoughts on this last episode of Game of Thrones. Let us also know what you think y'all want us to do next, TV shows next.
Yeah.
We gonna do another TV show. We'll do something. Because people really want us to keep doing these shows. So we gotta, at some point, we'll come back and do another show.
For the colored perspective.
From the color perspective.
I love it.
From the darky perspective.
Thrones be that game.
Man. I want to put mine in already, though. I want to put mine in as Top Boy.
What is it?
Top Boy.
Who's in that?
What's that?
It's the British Wire.
Okay. As someone who's never seen The Wire, I know. Gas.
Top Boy is that deal, though.
Okay.
Top Boy is that deal.
All right. Is it a series that's already started? What channels?
Oh,
on?
yeah. It's on Netflix. But it's
okay.
BBC. It's BBC.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so it's they're coming out with a new season. Drake's actually executive producing next season.
Interesting.
'Cause
How many
they-
seasons so far?
3.
Okay, we probably need
4
to start with a
episodes-
new series.
Only 4. No, it's only 4 episodes per season.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's only 4 episodes per season. BBC, they're quick. They do the episodes 4 or 5 episodes. They get in and get out. They don't really extend it out like
If
that.
you ever want to do Doctor Who, I can talk about decades of
But I mean, Doctor Who is like 55 seasons though.
And I've seen them all.
I've never seen.
Yeah,
I've never
I
seen a
can't
season
jump
of
in
Doctor
now.
Who. I've never
my
seen a season of
ringtone.
Doctor
My ringtone is the TARDIS.
Who. I've never seen Doctor Who at all.
Neither have I.
Jesus
That's like
Christ.
trying to cover The Simpsons.
Y'all are so
Yes.
young.
No, it's not a young thing. I just never got into it.
You are not that much older than me, Scott.
Yeah.
You are
I
3
am.
years older than me, probably 2 years older than Daryl.
Yeah, that's true. This is all true.
How old are you?
Man, I ain't gonna put my age on these streets.
You
But I
are
know
2 years older than
Y'all
Daryl. That's how
graduated.
old.
Y'all graduated in this millennium. I'm saying I'm
No,
at
I
least.
graduated
No.
in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll allow it then.
All right. All right. Thank y'all for listening.